Good morning, students. Welcome to math class today. We are going to be doing chapter 8, lesson 4, dealing with cubic units and volume. You can find this on page 363 in your math activity book. Now, while you look that up in your math book, I have a quick joke for you today. Why was the math book so depressed? Because he had so many problems. What a great math joke. All right, moving on here now. We have Unit 8, Lesson 4. We're going to be dealing with some cubes. Now, what is a cube? Well, the best way to think about a sugar cube. I don't know if you have seen them. Maybe your grandma and grandpa still have them. I know when I used to go to there was a restaurant in Pelican called the Rapids, and they had the best pancakes in the world, and we'd go there, and you always had the grandmas and grandpas, mostly the grandpas, sitting around drinking coffee there every day, and they had sugar cubes sitting on the table. I remember looking at them. So it's just a perfect cube of sugar, and they would drop it in their coffee. So instead of doing spoonfuls of sugar into their coffee, they could just put this cube in there. So you basically have this cube, and again, a cube is essentially just a square on all sides. So every single thing is the same. You have a square pulled out into a three-dimensional shape, but every side would be a perfect square. So let's take a look. How many faces does a cube have? Now, the best way to think about a cube and the face, what I'm going to do is if I draw a little larger shape here now, I'm going to try to draw the cube the best I can. It's going to look a little bit like a rectangular prism, but you will get the idea here. Okay, a face. A face, the best way to think about is where can you actually draw a smiley face? You could draw one there. You could draw one there. You could draw one on the top. You could draw one on the back side. You could draw one on the left side. You could draw on the bottom. So those would all be faces. Okay, that would be a face. So how many faces does it have? Well, you can see 3 of them, but how many can you not see? Well, I can't see the bottom, I can't see the back side, and I can't see the left side. So there's 3 you can see and 3 you cannot. So all cubes will have 6 faces. How about edges? You can see down here, it does kind of tell you what an edge is, but the edge, I think about maybe how about like a butter knife, let's say. Let's say you have this butter knife right here, and then once the actual kind of knife starts right here, you might have it curve up a little bit and then straight right there. Now this is the edge of the knife. That's what you would cut your butter with. So that's the edge of the knife. Notice how it's kind of a sharp line. If it wasn't a sharp line, it wouldn't be very good at cutting butter. So on a shape, the edge will be your lines right here. You see those? I just outlined 4 edges. Well, there's 4 there. I have some here. And then there's also ones you don't see. So if you think about it, the front square has 4. Well, the back side would also have 4. So if I was going to draw this one again, I'll put it right in here. Some people like to draw cubes like this. There's the 4 in the front. What if I drew the 4 in the back? There's my 4 in the back. Now connect the lines. I can connect that one to there, that one to there, that one to there, and that one to there. Now, if you stare at that shape long enough, the shape might actually flip in your head. It doesn't make sense maybe right now, but right away when you first saw this, maybe this was the front that you see. Maybe that was the back. But now if you stare at it long enough, it might flip in your head because your brain right now is trying to figure out what's top, what's bottom. All of a sudden the shape might shoot out and say, now this is the top, and it's going up and down. People will see this different ways. If you stare at that shape long enough, that shape will start to flip on you. It's kind of fun to do. But where we're doing edges, so remember, the front had 4 edges, okay, 4 in the front. The back had 4 edges. Well, then I had to connect the front to the back with 4 more. So it's 4, 4, and 4. So that would make 12. 12 edges on cubes. And that'll be the same for all of your rectangular prisms that we will go through later on in a separate lesson. So write true or false for each statement. All the edges of a cube are the same length. If you have a cube Yes, they are all the same length because a cube means they're all squares. So every measurement, this measurement is the same as this one, same as that one, same as that one because it's a square. But then this measurement is the same as that measurement. I know mine looks off a little bit, but they are all the same. So this would be a true statement. All the faces of a cube are the same size squares. Absolutely. This face right here is going to be the same as that face. They'd all be the same. So again, that is also a true statement. How about the bottom? A unit cube is a cube with each edge 1 unit long. The volume of a cube is 1 cubic unit. The volume of an object can be measured by filling it up with unit cubes without any gaps or overlaps. That's all they're saying. If you made a giant box, how many cubes could you put in there? You're trying to actually put 3-dimensional cubes inside of a box. That's what volume is. You're trying to fill up that box perfectly without any gaps or space in there. So you're filling it up with actual items. Okay, next page. This is page 363 now. Or this might still be the bottom of that page. I decided to break mine up so you can see them a little better. So, up here, it says cut out the nets on page 364A and fold the nets to make an open-ended prism. So let's take a look. We have I made one kind of like it. I made the bottom one, it looks like right here. The top one is 1, 2, 3, 4, yes, right there. So I did make these myself. If you would like to, you can turn to that 364A and actually cut those out. You can use that book and cut it out. All they want us to do is take and fold this up. We're going to make open-ended, which means obviously it will not have a top to it, so we can kind of look down into it. If you wanted to make it so you could glue it together, then you have to add a little extra paper onto each side for little tabs to glue on or tape. But so if we take a look here, here's my cube that I have now kind of folded, so you can kind of see that right there. Make sure I put it into view. So you can see that this would be a cube. If I were to put it this way and pretend that that side is closed, you would see this is a 3-dimensional prism. It's called a prism. It just means a 3-dimensional, basically rectangle. Remember, all squares are rectangles, so cubes are prisms. Just taking a flat shape and pulling it up so it's 3-dimensional. Number of cubes. Now it's going to be kind of hard to see on mine because the lines are so faint, they're hard to kind of see. But if you cut out, you should be able to see it much easier. And when you fold it, you might want to make the lines actually be on the outside. That way, it's going to be much easier to count if you were to do yours. But mine, again, by the time I copied mine off, the lines kind of faded a little bit. So if you want to try to count those, you can go ahead and cut yours out and look at it. But you'll know that you will have 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3. So if you were to kind of draw the bottom that you would see, that's basically the bottom. I have 4 along the side or in the front there, and I have 3 along there. Now it's 3-dimensional. I have that bottom one, I then have the middle one, and I have the top one. So it's like 3 of them stacked on top of each other. So how many cubes would you have? Well, if this is a 4 by 3, this would be equal to 12. But I have 12 in that row, I have 12 in this row, and I have 12 in that row. So total number of cubes would be 36. Well, the volume, to find volume, is the same exact thing. How many cubes fit in there? That's 36. Because we know that there are 36 cubes to fill it up, and that is the definition of volume of itself right there. Okay, so we're going to say the volume is 36 cubic units, being we don't really know, but if you were going to fill them up with, they said 1 centimeter cubes, it would actually be 36 centimeters cubed. Why is it 3? Well, basically we have 3 dimensions. If you think area, this would have been 12 centimeters squared because I'm just doing a square. But once you make it 3-dimensional now you're talking not just length and width, But we also have height in there. That gives us the third dimension, which gives us why we have our cubic, which is known as the third power, or centimeters cubed. They said cubic units, but being they said centimeters, we can throw in the centimeters. Next one, I have also done this one. If I fold this one up, if you would like to cut that out and fold it, go ahead and do that. There's my prism again. You can see three-dimensional prism. Looks like a stick of butter again. Now, number of cubes. Well, if you count on the side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 along this side, and I have 2 going this way. So the bottom would have 10. The top row would also have 10, which I know there are a total of 20 cubes then. So the volume must be 20 cubic units. But if we were doing centimeters again, we could have said 20 centimeters cubed. I have 20 of my cubic centimeters. So if you're thinking, and you've seen your centimeter ruler before, you take that centimeter and you make it into a cube that is perfectly 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. There would be 20 of those that would fit inside that shape. So I could fill this up with 20 of those if this was actual measurements. Okay, let's go to the next page. Now it says find the number of cubic units and the volume. They will be the same because volume is cubic units. So take a look. We have no measurement. It just says cubic units or units cubed, so we'll just not have a centimeters or anything in there. We'll just have cubic units. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this side. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side. So you know the bottom row would have 20. Well, 20, 20, and 20. That has to be 60 cubes that would fill that up because they're all going to be on top of each other. So my volume would be 60 cubic units. This one here, I have 1, 2, 3 by 2. Well, if I have a 3 by 2, how many would that make it? How about Aubrey from Mr. Johnson's class? Right, the bottom would have 6. Well, that one has 6. This row would have 6. This row would have 6. And this row would have 6. You can see them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All these rows have 6. Well, if I have 4 rows of 6, how many cubes is that? How about Xander, Miss Bloom's class? Correct, that would be 24 cubes, which in this case, our volume, we would write that as 24 cubic units. And the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 along the front. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 along the side. So if I have a 4 by 4, remember there will be cubes underneath the top one. So the bottom layer would have 16. Well, the top layer also has 16. So altogether, I would have how much, Stella? Correct, 32 cubes, which in this case would be 32 cubic units. Okay, good. Let's go to the next page. And we have everybody's favorite, the puzzled penguin. Last one for today. It's going to be a short one today. Dear math students, this drawing of a cube appears to have a volume of 19 cubic units. But when I built it, I used 27 cubes. What did I do wrong? Well, let's take a look. If we were to number these, let's start at the bottom left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't need to count this one because this is part of this cube. So this will be 9, so this will be 10, 11, 12, 13. This one would be 14, 15. I haven't done these right there. 16, 17, 18, 19. That's what Puzzle Penguin thought. But again, you have to realize that there's some in the back and underneath those that we don't see because we have a 3 by 3. So the bottom in itself would have 9. Well, I have 3 rows of 9. 9 there, 9 there, and 9 there. So what Puzzle Penguin did is he can't just count them. You have to understand that there are some underneath the back that you cannot see. So it's actually 27. What he did wrong is he forgot to include the ones you cannot see. Okay, pretty quick, easy lesson today. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you on the next lesson.